and I'll lasso with the bicep control. If someone likes to put a lot of pressure, I usually switch to this one so that I can keep them off of me. Because if I go here, like this, if they manage to get super close, I don't have as much pushing pressure because my foot is free here and it's more past the hip. So that's an option as well that you can keep with the lapel lasso control. You can put it at the hip itself, as long as you make sure to turn inward to the side that you're attacking. This helps use the weight of your knee to pull on his collar, breaking his posture, help you with the rotational control of making him face this way, and stops him from stepping around to our weak side in this position, which would be over here. Just remember, if someone starts to step around to the weak side, it's not over. It just means you need to switch back to the intermediary control. So don't get tunnel vision on one specific lapel grip. You can't just say, oh, I'm a stirrup master and I'm just going to stay here the whole time, because then he's going to push your leg up. Every jiu-jitsu position has a weakness. The skill comes into the timing and understanding that as they use their position and control to counter it, you adjust to the new position that compensates for that. So if I'm in a stirrup here and he starts to drive upward, I would go underneath. If he starts to drive downward, I would go back to the stirrup. And if I feel like he's posturing too much maybe, I would want to try and go to the lasso. But if he stands up too straight, I would have to go around this way, right? Even if you go ahead and stand up straight, I can't lasso this way, but I can still lasso this way, no matter how great their posture is. And then I sit to my position here. This is something I've been doing a lot, and it works really effectively on standing and kneeling opponents. Because if someone's down on the ground on their knees, lapel guard is obviously still good, but it can be difficult to set up your worm guards if his knees are flat. But from the lapel lasso, there's a lot of entries and options that we can cover and get to, which we'll get into later in the course. But for now, we're talking about just controlling from before we have any actual worm guard setups. The final detail of the pre-focus that you need before you get into actually setting up the lapel guards is how do you even get a lapel grip? His belt is tied, strapped in there. How are we trying to retrieve the lapel grips? There's a few ways, and it changes from position to position, whether you're standing, whether you're playing guard, whether you're on top. There's some different ways to open them. The most common that I show first is from standing. So we're going to be standing here for a second. Most fights start on the feet, unless you train in a gym, which you start on the knees, in which case you should switch gyms. Just kidding, but try and start on your feet, but not really. I'm just saying that to not insult anyone. Anyway, standing on your feet is a huge part of jiu-jitsu, and you should definitely learn how to start on your feet. When we're standing, I want the lapel right away. I don't want to start playing guard, especially in a competitive situation. I don't want to start playing guard without a lapel open, because I'm going to have to play traditional guards until his lapel opens up, and I'm not just going to wait for his belt to slowly loosen over time and then, oh, the lapel's finally opened up. No, I'm going to take an aggressive stance to get that lapel first. And I use a lot of lapel techniques from standing, not only to attack, but it's actually a really strong anti-judo defense using lapel guard, believe it or not. So the most simple way is we're going to use some traditional martial arts here. We're going to use our tiger claw attack to open the lapel. So I'm just going to, this isn't a joke. The best way to open the lapel is actually to turn your hand in a swiping motion, like you're about to disembowel your opponent with one single swipe. And you just try and hook your fingers, as many as you can get in. Sometimes only one will make it in, depending on how much he's defending my grips. A lot of times I like to fake it out by reaching here, and as he goes to block my grip here, I go low. Yeah, right. Totally tricked it. So just a reverse tiger swipe is the best way to just open the top lapel. Coincidentally, you'll find that my best lapel guard grips are on my opponent's left lapel. That's because most people are trained to fold their left lapel over the right, so that's the lapel that's available. One time I actually had to fight my professor, and he realized this, and he came to the match with the lapel switched. And I went to try and open his lapel, and it was backwards. And I was like, what? And I had to do it to the other side, and then a lot of my attacks had to come off my weak side lapel, so that was super smart of him. But in our case, you're not going to have a high-level world champion professor that you have to fight. So the left lapel is probably going to be the one you're attacking. So I would open it with my right hand, coming across and opening it. Of course, there's many ways to open it. You can also just grab it and yank it out slowly. But going low like this is a little more effective because it's going to pull it out from the belt. Because if you just pull from here, a lot of his lapel stays in the belt. And it can make, you don't get as much slack. So By going here and going wide and across, it allows me to get a little bit more of his lapel out, like that. And then I can grip it here. From this position, I pull guard with the lapel, but my intention is to make sure that my feet get to my intermediary lapel positions right away. There's a couple ways to do that. One, you can do the traditional guard style pull, where in jiu-jitsu where you take your grips and you put your foot in the hip and then you sit down.